Okay,
Okay, we're
sounds
good to go.
like all right. Okay, I will get us started then. So after hearing a couple folks saying this is the first time, I just put together a slight kind of documentation on how you can protest, like kind of step by step. This is a visual from the notice package they sent. I hope you all guys received your appraisal notices through mail. I kind of like this visual because basically it's as simple as this. It's not complicated. You just go to this traviscat.org/protests, follow the steps, protest. It takes about 5 minutes. And as soon as you protest, Conti just comes back with a counter proposal lowering the value. I never took it, always went all the way through, but even just protesting should save you guys some money because again, like Conti just coming back with a proposal. I think this year I received 453K appraisal from Conti. Upon protest, I got an offer for 430. I decline, but like even if you don't do anything, that's significant, like lowering the value. So definitely protest. If nothing else, you'll just get a counter offer. And then they send you an email with the instructions on how you can attend the hearing. And this hearing can is online too. So like you don't have to do anything. It takes about what maybe 30 minutes during this hearing. There is a independent committee called ARB, Appraisal Review Board, or something like that. So basically, those are independent citizens. Three people usually attends, and they listen both sides, and then ultimately decide what the value should be. So not a big deal at all. And I kind of put through a step-by-step guide below here as well. This is in the event link in Facebook, but I will send you guys through Facebook again, the link to this so you can all see. The date target the dates are like mid-April is kind of when we get the notices through mail, and then we have until May 15 to protest online. So don't forget, I think we still have about 20-ish days. So to protest. If you don't receive the notice, you can still protest after May 15. That's called like late protest uh, procedure, which I had to do because they had my address incorrect both 2 years before. So I had to go through alternative routes and protest late, which is a bit more cumbersome, but still not that big of a deal. But as long as you guys have that notice, you should be able to protest online without doing anything and just don't miss the deadline, May 15. Uh, for protesting, there are actually two options. I kind of started in the beginning, but I am no way an expert on this. I just have some experience in the previous 2 years, so I'm just sharing my experiences with you guys. So option one is, and I've seen various different posts in our Facebook group as well, just hire the services of a company. I think Onwell is an example, Five Stone Tax, Texas Pro Tax. So these companies typically don't charge you anything. They take care of everything, is what I heard. And then once they save you money, they are kind of taking 25% of the savings they are giving you. So it's pretty, I mean, fair deal. You don't do anything. It's just completely handled by them, and you just enjoy the savings, I guess. And they give the 25% cut, which is good for them too. So definitely, you don't if you don't want to like get involved with any of this, just uh, I think there are different posts in the Facebook group. So just search in the neighborhood Facebook group. There are a couple folks who shared referral links. So if you choose one of them, you will get $20. They will get $20. I think that's kind of a win-win. Any questions so far? And feel free to unmute and
Um,
me.
Typically, do these companies like do you pay them up front or do they you pay them over the course of when you benefit from them?
After you receive the benefit, like the discount check from Conti, that's when they get their share, is what no upfront payment at all.
So
I like Onwell sent me a mail like as an advertisement. They said like they estimate my property value at 420K, and they said I don't have to pay anything once they lower the value and we receive the discount. That's when they get that saving. But again, I never worked with them, so I don't exactly know how this works. But that's what I heard.
Yeah, so this is Anshul. So my experience has been different because I worked with Texas tax protest for 2 years. So I paid them
Mm.
upfront for 2 years, about $290, I think.
Ah, okay.
Uh, so, but the advantage I had was that I saved about $1,300 both the years in tax savings, and I didn't have to pay them 25%, and they did
Ah.
everything on my behalf. So I didn't have to do anything. I One year I was trying to, last year I removed my PMI, and for that I got my home appraised, and that's when. I send them the appraisal as well. So I think that helped them, I guess, because they had a
Mm,
documentation. But that was upfront payment for 2 years.
I see. Okay. I mean, I can definitely see, especially last year, like upfront payment being more advantageous because last year Conti went crazy and they appraised my home, I think 508K last year, and I got it lowered down to 420. I have no idea how they are coming up with these numbers, but it's insane. So I think I received $1,500 from discount last year. So maybe like that's more advantageous. What I heard from a couple of my brother's neighbors in Easton Park, they are using Onwell and they said they don't pay upfront and they get this 25% after they say. But yeah, there might be other companies like you suggested that you pay on upfront. But I think this year it's not as crazy. Like County appraised my home at 453 and I'm gonna go for 400K, which is still significant. But if Onwell gets 420, that's not that like that wouldn't definitely like from 453 to 420. I don't think 295 upfront would make sense, but it's up to you guys.
Yeah, and that
So
295 is for 2 years, by the way.
2 years? Ah,
It's
okay.
like 150 pretty much for a year. Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
150 per year, and you ended up saving 1,300 each year.
Correct.
So
Hmm.
that's $2,600 savings for a $300 investment. That's pretty good. I'd like to go back, if you could, Ozan, to to this document here, because there's a bunch of different columns here that are. It says Austin Collection District and Austin ISD and City of
Mhm.
Austin. And then it has 2023 taxable, 2024 taxable. Um, can you talk just a minute about how you determine, there's this net appraised value in the box above up here? Uh,
And
Net appraised
which
value, but then there are these columns over here that say, 2024 taxable. Which number are you going off of to make your protest?
so are you talking about the notice?
Yes.
And I don't know who this person. I just searched Charles Murray before, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna use this notice as an example. And it looks like they are using OnMail as their agent. And this is
Okay,
the
yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
so market value and net appraised value. This is what they think the house worth, right? This is not the taxable amount. The taxable amount was called. I think it is. It was supposed to be the second column. This should be the taxable, I think. So
Okay,
apparently this is 453. This is the market value. This is how much of it is taxable,
okay.
I think.
And then,
And
but then you've got the columns to the just below that. On the right, it says 2023 and then 2024.
Right. Yeah, it's breaking down. And honestly, I don't know the what does, for example, market value of non-AG timberland means. I don't know the breakdown, but ultimately it's saying last year your home was a net appraised value was 508, this year 453. So this year's net appraised value is what you should be looking at for this year. This last year is last year. So Another
Okay,
important thing.
and then how are you calculating what your savings is, or do you have to wait until they
Yeah.
reduce the amount and then they send you a new notice, or they send you an email that says it's now been reduced to this amount? How is that communicated?
So normally in the hearing you're attending, if you're attending the hearing, they are saying, yeah, we agree your house should worth 420, for example. So that's how you know. And then I think after a couple of weeks later, county is sending a new notice with the updated value, or they're just confirming, yeah, we lowered your home's value to 420.
Okay.
Both first 2 years, because I didn't receive my notice through mail, because they had my address incorrect, I had to file late protests. So what happened is I paid the full amount. Whatever they appraised, I paid it. And then I get the protest hearing, and then they agreed. So they sent me a check back saying, yes, this is overpay because you get the home value reduced.
Okay,
But
and I wanted to ask you about the informal meeting.
mhm.
So is the informal meeting online? Is it virtual, or do you go to an office somewhere?
Both are available. I both years I attended online. Let me actually go resume, and I will touch point on how the hearing goes, and I will show you guys what to expect from the hearing as well if you go on the route of protesting yourself. So to protest yourself, all you need is to have this owner ID and PIN number. Both these numbers are available in the notices you receive in the email. This is the PIN number, and then owner ID is right above. With these numbers, you go to this link, Prodigy, Travis CAD/protest, or this one also works. This is the portal they use. So you go to this link with these two numbers, you sign up. One trick was that you need to add your PIN in this service. So you go to my properties, add your PIN there, and then click file a protest. It's like I lay down step by step so you guys can take a look at this and let me know if you have any issues, but just follow the steps. So click file protest, and it's not that big of a deal. Couple of call outs is while you are protesting, ask for an online meeting. There is an option there. So if you want to do online, of course, select that option when you're applying. And then there's also a checkbox saying if you want to receive the evidence by the county, definitely click that button as well, because then you get to see what county will show as evidence during the hearing against you. So both your I received those, and I'm gonna show you guys the examples of what they sent me as well. So I mentioned this too, but as soon as you protest, they are giving you a counter offer. This year I get 432, 43, 433 versus 453, what they initially appraised. So even if you don't want to go through the hearing, just protest, get the counter offer, and get that deal. Or use a service like OwnWell or something like that. So definitely protest. The main takeaway is protest. Definitely protest because they're insane.
Is there any evidence that protesting through a third party company it has a higher success rate, or you are going to save more than if you protest yourself?
I am confident in myself. After 2 years, I think I can get a lower. So this year they told me they estimate 420, and I'm going for 400 for sure. And I'm gonna give you guys my evidence as well, so you can use the same thing. And if even though you are going with Onwell, feel free to share with them too. Hey, one of our neighbors are going with 400, and this is why, and maybe they use that evidence and get you the same price too. But I think the main advantage is you don't have to worry about any of this, and they are professionals too. So like, yeah, maybe they get better prices than individual, but I am confident in myself and I don't want to pay anything because
Sure, sure.
I find it easy. But again, I think it's great they are doing that, so you don't have to worry about anything. So that's definitely a valid option.
Right. It's really a time thing, right? If you don't have time,
Yeah,
call this
exactly.
other company and do it. But it's really, what did you say? It takes about 15 minutes or less?
Like, yeah, protesting itself like 5 minutes. Then I spend about half an hour preparing the evidence, and then the hearing will take like 15 to 20 minutes too. So it's like all under an hour. So I find it pretty easy, but again, like it can be overwhelming. It's a lot of process to if you don't have the time, if you don't want to learn, go with one of the services.
When you say preparing evidence, what exactly do you mean, and what kind of evidence are you using?
Yes, I'm getting to that right now. So you'll get what's next. Once you protest, they will give you a counter offer. You receive an email about it, like, hey, you receive a new valuation. So you use the same kind of portal, travis.prodigycat.com. Same portal. You go there, you see what they offered, accept, decline, do whatever. And then from that portal, actually, let me show you guys how that portal looks like as well. From that portal, you can also see what evidence the county is going to use during the hearing. It's so the ARB will just present themselves. Hey, we are ARB. We are doing X, Y, Z. Oh, it's not saved here. Let me switch to Safari. And then they ask if you want to go first or if you want county to go first. I usually let the county go first, so I get the last say. But so if you do that too, county will first present their evidence why they think the home is valued the way they valued. I'm sadly realizing that my phone has more computing power than my laptop, but I don't have the means to change it right away.
You and me both.
Yeah. I have two work laptops, so I don't use my personal laptop for almost anything. Just to protest. I think that's the main use for this laptop. Anyway, so this is how that portal looks like. You click this, file a protest, follow through the step, you protest, pretty easy. Once you do that, you have here in the action menu, you see, for example, the recommendation. This is the recommendation they have given me for 33. I already declined. What else? So the important piece is you get to see county's evidence, as I mentioned. So this is what they will present. I will say, let the county go first, and someone will start presenting this in the board. And I actually downloaded this, so let me switch to that. This year, it's like unbelievable. They cherry picked the houses sold last year and come to an insane valuation in the end. So this is the evidence CAT is going to propose. And a good chunk of this is just gibberish. That's not important. They are saying like different type of, how do I hide this? Okay, maybe I can't. So this is like nothing, how does the condition guidelines, salvage, poor fair. Our homes are all pretty good condition, new. So classes, this is not important either. Our home is 1840 square feet on this acre, nothing important. So here's where we come to comparable sales analysis. So they are sharing the houses sold last year. So if you look at it, this is from January, May, April. And these are not even sold houses, but I think these are asking prices of the houses somehow. So like, let's see. Yeah, this is not even sold house. They are saying these houses were placed at this value. So this is again, no use. This is not sold. Doesn't mean anything. And then comparable, are these sold or just asking prices?
Are all the comps that they're using from the Goodnight Ranch, or are some of them from other areas?
Yeah, mostly Goodnight Ranch. So it's a bit small, I know, but it's all Charles Merle. But these are not sold houses. So these are saying like market value is. I don't think I have this as an evidence last year, but this is not sold homes. But they are saying we valued the entire neighborhood at this price, 453, 453, 453, which is
So
what they did.
they're probably going by asking prices that are for listings, and they're assuming those are the values.
Kind of. And then here, actually, this is what matters. This is the sales for market area from our area. And they are saying these are the sales we used as an example. The funny trick here is none of these are after May. There is one from July, two from July, but both these are cattle barons, so not really comparable for Charles Merle. So they very blatantly missed any houses after May. And there are multiple sales at 400 and 395 or something like that in late October, which they don't have here. So
Right.
that's what I'm going to use as, hey, I see that you guys don't have anything after July. And I think they even have one for January 2024. So why is that? Why is there a gap? There were no sales there, and they can't say no because there are. So they basically just cherry picked some sales, but would work to their advantage. And I don't know how they come from this price to 453 either, but they have a way. So this is what they will present. Again, if like the most important piece is the sold houses from last year.
Right.
So for example, last year, what I did is I just exactly took what they had in this table right here, and I put them into a chronological order. So let me start with my last year's protests. So this is kind of for evidence what I did last year. And I will share what I'm going to do this year as well, so you guys know. So because I protest late, first I have to argue why it's late and why I deserve to be heard late. So this wouldn't apply to you guys. So this is this reference sales they presented to me last year. I basically took it, put it into a chronological order, and you see each sale is going lower than the previous one. This is what they are appraising my home at 42% higher than the last comparable sale. So I also put this into a chart and said, okay, this is the evidence you are proposing. I just put this into a chronological order. It's going lower, lower, lower because interest rates are rising. From here, this is the last sold home. This is what you're proposing, 508. And this is the next home. It's into like 2023. Are you insane? Was my argument. Not
So
with
this
this
is
word, but this is basically just like almost showing the finger right here.
so this is the evidence that you produced using their own data to say
Right.
you guys are crazy.
Yeah. And after seeing this, the board was, okay, what do you want? And I am a newbie too. Like I didn't have a set number in mind, but definitely do. While you're protesting, actually, they are asking you what you think the value is. So for this year, I put 400. If you guys are on Charles Moore, I suggest 400, and I'll get to why in a second as well. So I didn't have any number, so I just said, okay, I want 420 because that's the last home sold closest to me, and count is apparently crazy. They don't even consider the trends or anything. They just somehow cherry pick houses and give you a number which is not realistic. Something to keep in mind, the number you see on that notice is supposed to be what your home is valued at first day of January of the year. So for this year, when we are protesting, the appraisal they are sending is as of January 1st, 2024. So it's their job is not to get a median from this number, average of it's not that. It doesn't matter. Their job is to give you an assessment of what your home should be valued at January 1st, 2024. That means they have to consider the trend into account. So after showing this, they accepted my proposal. So my home value reduced to 420 last year. For this year, here is my evidence. And again, I can share this with anyone interested. So one important thing, first year I protested, I give them various different PDFs, like my home's closing documents, comps I received from my uh, real estate agent. So I was like, okay, open that PDF, open that document, look at this row, open page 7. So that wasn't flowing nicely. And County, it's their job. They're coming with a single document, Excel or something, and they walk through much more efficient. So after I learned that, so now I'm doing the same thing. I'm providing them the evidence, whatever I have, but I'm also giving them something, either an Excel or a PDF or a PowerPoint that summarizes what the evidence is and what the logic is. So this year I created another PowerPoint too. So so this is kind of a sympathy point for me. It kind of worked well last year, and I'm gonna use it this year as well. So this is kind of the history of our home's valuation over the years. 621 is when we buy the home. We bought it for 441, and then lender appraised our home at 380. Insane numbers. And we ended up with a PMI mortgage insurance. I'm still paying that. So after 6 months later, they are saying at 11222, Conti said your home worth 480. I protested, it lowered to 441. Next year, they appraised 508. I protested, are you insane? And then after that protest, 420. But after I saw that crazy evaluation by the county, I said, hey, I shouldn't have to be paying PMI anymore because my home worth $500,000 apparently. So I kind of asked for PMI to be removed from my property because I'm very, very close to owning like 25% of it, so I don't have to pay. And if it is like, if it was same as 420, I wouldn't have to pay PMI. They would be removing it. But in 11 last year, November, I like asked for PMI to be removed. My lender works with an agent. The agent comes, checks your house, and then basically give you an appraisal for your home. What's your home worth based on homes sold recently? So last year in November, they told me my home is valued at $400,000 based on the sales that were made recently. These 3 sales is what they used. So I'm saying if my home worth 400K by a professional agent based on these sales, how come I'm paying 453? I'm not paying anything more than 400K is my argument this year. So these 3 homes were sold last year in October. These are the most comparable, both Charles Murray. One is 395K, one is 405K. Kettle Barron Path, it's not the same, but they were looking at the most recent hold sold, and I don't think there's any other homes sold in Charles Murray last year close to November. So these 3 were the comps they have given me in the, that's called BPO, like brokerage price opinion, basically appraisal by my lender that my home worth at November. And I kind of put the same numbers here as a different chart saying, hey, this is when the numbers are not showing.
Ozan, if you, since I'm on Charles Merle as well, would you share those comps with me so I don't have to track them
Yeah,
down?
of course. Yeah, of course.
That would be great.
And this is kind of chart,
Yeah,
okay.
same here,
Lender
Ozan.
appraised.
I'm on Charles Muller as well.
Yeah, I can share with you all. So this is kind of the same numbers I have in the previous page, but in a different chart. Conti, I'm trying to say here, Conti always have this habit of overpricing my home, and after protest, it goes down significantly. This year, I have and this price opinion, I received this in December, actually. So I applied in November, but it ended in December. So I get a professional opinion on my home's appraisal in December 2023 that my home is 400K, and there are no homes sold after this price opinion. So this is what I'm asking for this year.
Ozan, I would imagine that is December of last year. Because if
Sorry,
they've valued at 400, you must
breaking up
feel
a bit.
confident that your protest will be successful?
You're breaking up a bit. Can you repeat?
Sorry, can you hear me?
It's breaking up a bit to me. Is it just me?
No, no.
Is it better
Is
now?
that Arjun?
Yeah, Arjun.
Arjun, you're
Yes.
breaking up a little bit. I'm not sure if it's your
Okay.
internet or mine.
It might be mine. How's it now?
Sounds
That
good.
better, better.
Sounds
It
better.
seems better. Yeah.
Great, great. Sorry. I was saying, powerful argument you have here is your private appraisal in December of last year for 400, right, to
Right.
the lender.
Right.
So you
Mm.
must feel pretty confident that your protest should be successful, right? If the lender
Yeah, yeah,
has
yeah.
appraised it at lower value.
Yeah. I don't want to pay $401,000. I'm not going anything above 400K. I hope. I'm hoping. I'm pretty confident. And this is
Yeah.
where is that? I will share this with you guys, but just so you know what to look at.
Just a
So
quick
this is
one,
the,
one quick question. While you've got that chart up there, are
mhm.
when you create that chart that we were just looking at,
Okay.
sorry, yeah, that's it right there. So when you're creating that chart, you're saying our home's appraisal, are you using the market value from this box right here, or are you using the net appraised value?
Okay, good question. This is for market value. So net appraised value is at what you pay after your exemption. So if you have homestead,
Right.
so the numbers might not match. Oftentimes they match, but if you have homestead and 65 years exception, the numbers won't match. So net appraised, what is taxable. What you're arguing is what your home's worth, which is the market value,
Got it.
the box on the
Okay.
left in the
Okay.
notice.
Okay, that's great. So if you created this in Excel, would you sh share that Excel sheet and I can just change the numbers to match our numbers?
Yeah, yeah. And can definitely do that. And it's in Google Sheet too, so it's online. You can just create a
Oh,
copy.
it's a Google sheet? Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the licensed office in my personal laptop, so I use Google Sheet.
Sure.
So this is I kind of went back and forth this year. Last year, it made great sense to have a chart because it was so obvious that the value is decreasing over time. They just ignored that. So that was very compelling. This year, I submitted this, but I'm still going back and forth between myself because this is a lot of number. So you have to be very precise. So this tells two things. One, county is constantly overappraising my home. Two, I have a 400K valuation in at the last month of 2023. That's what we should go for. So I kind of like the chart, but it's again like if you don't get caught on all the different numbers, just precise. These are like three citizens, so it's better not to confuse people. I would say maybe even you don't even need any of this and just go with the valuations. Just go with the private appraisal I have here. So I don't know if this has any sensitive information. I'm hoping not, but I think I should be able to share this with you guys as well. So this is see, the time I received the response, it was December 14, but I applied in November, so towards the end of the year. And this is like, yeah, like house condition, check marks, new, yada, yada. The important piece on this document is mm, these are, I think these are homes that were listed at the time, and these are the listed prices, but this didn't happen
Mm.
either. So these are not sold homes.
Is this appraisal a private appraisal that you paid for, or did
Yeah, I paid for it to remove
okay,
my PMI, and yeah.
okay.
Where is the comparable, this actual? There we go. There we go. So these three are the actual recent sales, and you see how I differentiate is if there is a sales date, that's a sold home. If it doesn't have a sales date, then it's just someone is asking for that price, which means nothing. So this is like Kettle Baron. I think these are hometowns too, so like it makes sense for these to be lower than what we are paying for Charles Noel. But
Mhm.
again, like they were looking for, I think, homes sold in the last 3 months ish, so they included this one. But these two are like these are, if you are living in Charles Noel, these are the exact same houses that we live in, and not only one, we have two homes sold very close to the end of the year, and one is 391, one is 405K.
Mm,
So it's like not just one, we have two homes. And again, what was sold in January of the year doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Their job is not to get a median price for the year. Their job is to give you a price that they think is fair for 1/1/2024. So what's more recent than two comparable sales here? Nothing. So I would I will personally build my case around that, and I don't expect any issues, but you never know. Both year, what I asked for is approved by the ARB. I think it's called like the three people committee that are hearing both sides and then ultimately deciding. So they're very reasonable if you just tell them what you think in a clear way and with evidence, of course. It shouldn't be a big deal.
okay. Well, those two sales right there on Charles Merle are perfect for us. Uh,
Right.
Lee, I'm not sure where you're located, but um, maybe Cattle Baron is better.
Handle Baron's problem is it's in July, so it's not as recent, and it's somehow I've seen some higher prices in July. I don't know, maybe the interest rates were going lower that time of year or what. But if you are not living on Charlesmere, I would suggest do this like just reach out to your real estate agent if you have one. Just ask for the home sold the entire year and just look at the home sold recent, not
Mhm.
recent, but towards the end of the year, and go off of that. And let me actually show you guys the Google Sheet as well. I had homes sold for both Charles Murr and Witter Drive because it's kind of
Yeah, so
duplexes to
uh,
Charles Murr. So
so Ozan, on same lines, actually similar lines, I did the same thing where I reached out to my real estate agent and asked him, hey, can you send me all the houses which were around 1900 square feet built in last 2 years, 3 years, like very similar to my house uh,
right.
demographic, right? And within, I think they have a mile radius as well, 2 miles or something. So not just Goodnight Ranch, but everything. And then he
Mm.
would send me emails, like he would just go set it up as an automatic sent from his system, and I would get emails, I think, every week or something.
Ah,
So then I
okay.
was getting all this data pretty much on a recurring basis in my system, and then I can go and do my research and see, okay, what were the houses that were sold, what was their pricing, what was their square footage, and all of that,
Yeah,
and use all the data to get rid of PMI, and honestly use it here as well.
yeah, that's even better. There you go. So this one is the Excel Google Sheet I used. This one is for last year, for 2020, 2023, mean this year's protest. So this is what I have. What I actually have is I also asked my real estate agent to give me, this is where my computer's computing powers are falling short. I'm trying to clear this filter to show you guys the other comparable houses too, but I can't do that for some reason. Come on. If I did. Okay, finally. So these are actually all the houses sold in Charles Mill and Witter Drive last year. And when I look at the numbers beyond of beyond from these two, 405 and 391, the numbers are not really that advantageous for homeowners because again, like the houses sold in January, February, July, even. So these are all times where somehow prices were higher. So beyond these two, I didn't see any advantageous comparables for Charles Merle or Witter Drive from last year. So that's why I decided to go, okay, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to use the private appraisal I received from my lender at the end of the year, and that should be enough. And honestly, I still think again, like their job is to assess your home's value at 1st January to 2024, and the last two houses, not one, two houses sold very close to that at this number. So 453 is insane.
That's
I
great.
think
Ozan, and if do you know if there's any issue if we use the private purchase appraisal that you received? If
Uh,
other people use that as evidence?
I don't know to be honest. I don't know. So look, I mean, I will share with you for FYI, but I didn't see a reason why I wouldn't be able to give you that and why you shouldn't be able to use it. Because again, this is an appraisal of my home, and if I'm fine with sharing that, I don't think that would become an issue. But let's.
Yeah, I mean, we'll give it a shot. I'm just wondering whether their argument is going to be held. That is a private document, and you should be using
Mm.
public data. But hey, that's a really powerful document, though.
I mean, it's not that you should be using public data. You can use whatever you want. And if you say, hey, like I ask my neighbor, like it's not like you're stealing this. So I wouldn't think this would become an issue, but I want to take a look at this just to make sure there's
if
no
the
private
houses
information
if
on
the
it.
houses are comparable, I mean, if you're are you an 1,840 square foot Charles Merle home?
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's my home, and so those numbers, the comps that are on there for Charles Merle are totally usable. Uh,
Right.
the other the item the material, Ozan, are you in a Charles Merle as well?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, so much of that's probably usable, but I wouldn't necessarily use the actual document. I would probably just take the numbers off of it, throw them into a spreadsheet and make a chart like you did, and tell them it's from, it's from an appraisal done, recently for a
Mm,
neighbor with the same property.
yeah,
Yeah, that sounds good.
right. So
And
I will, yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Lee, do you have any questions about any of this?
I don't have any questions, but I do want to thank you for facilitating and thank you, Ozan, for putting together all of this information. I mean, the way you presented it too, I work in data visualization, so I'm like, yeah, can't argue with this. So if
Yeah,
you ever
I
need a
love it.
job, send me your
Love it.
resume.
Yeah. So after that first year that I had like various different PDFs, hey, look at open that, and you are not presenting in this hearing too. So you. Oh, by the way, that's a good call out. So you have to upload your evidence in that portal too. So let's go back to that portal. So once you have your protest ready, basically go back to that same portal that you protested and upload the evidence. And during the hearing, you are not able to present, but you are telling them, like, hey, I already uploaded my evidence, open X file. So they open and they present for you. And after that first year where I had like different PDFs, say, open that PDF page 68, and that's my home value. And they had this nice looking Excel and they caught me off guard. And next year, okay, like I'm a management consultant. I do PowerPoints all day, every day. So next year I'll see you guys. So next year I picked up a bit, and this year I think this is again. We shouldn't need anything basically. Like there are two most recent homes sold to 1/1/2024, and they are nowhere near 450.
So
So
you basically create your documentation and then put it into PowerPoints, and then you save the PowerPoint as a PDF and upload that to them.
yeah, I tried to upload PowerPoint, but the portal didn't agree with that. So that's why I kind of saved it as PDF and uploaded that way.
Right, right. Okay, that's good. That's great to
Yeah.
know.
I have a question that's a bit maybe a bit more philosophical, but um, again, being a new homeowner, it's great that we can protest and receive a lower appraisal. But at some point, does it, like when more people do it in the same neighborhood, does it result in like a longer term horizon prices or market values going down because realtors use that as, hey, this should be the price you list your house at? Is it counterproductive? What do you all think?
I wouldn't think so. When I was shopping my home, I loved whenever a house is lower taxable value. It's not a disadvantage, but an advantage. If you see the home and it's in good condition, you don't care. Like I think the lower the price, the better it is, the easier to sell. And it's not like we are arguing for this is the reality. Like people tried to sell houses last year, and like 400 was the real value we have. So
Right.
I would think it's like again, like when I was shopping for home, like whenever a house is showing lower monthly property tax average, that's an advantage.
I wouldn't be too concerned about impacting the overall value of homes in the Goodeye Ranch, for example, because um, the sale price is really going to reflect the market conditions, right? So when there were 30,000 people a month moving to Texas and there weren't enough properties and all these tech companies, including Tesla and Dell and all these companies were hiring and hiring, people were just buying houses like hotcakes, and so the market value was higher because they were, not enough homes to satisfy the demand in the neighborhood. So it's really going to be a supply and demand thing. What we protest as far as a taxable value for our home here will go up if the market conditions change. If the Fed lowers interest rates in the next year significantly, if they drop by half point to 2 points over the next year, people will start buying homes more quickly, and suddenly we'll be in an upward trend, and all of our properties here will go up in value again. And so they'll start to want to charge us more for taxable valuation. But I don't think our protest is going to affect that.
Gotcha. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, that makes sense. I was just curious whether it would be counterproductive, but I guess yeah, it there's a disconnect with the market forces. I had one more question, and stop me if this may not be the forum, but it's related to this, and it's related to homestead exemptions. Um, like I said, the appraisal document says that's the value net of homestead exemptions. Um, we bought last year and we haven't filed for a homestead exemption for this year. Is there a deadline that I should be familiar with? When to file for a homestead exemption?
I don't
There
I
should
don't
be,
remember, but
yeah, I don't remember, but there is, maybe, yeah, I think there is a deadline, but yeah, look it up online. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I do remember you can even apply backwards. So if you missed, for example, this year, next year you can apply for this year as well. But the first year, like the year you purchase the home, it's not applying. So like from the
Understood.
previous owner to you, it's not transferring that homestead, which
right.
kind of what my realtors told me. Hey, like this previous owner has a nice homestead, so you would be taking over as long as you apply for homestead yourself too. But I applied, but like it didn't take. Like once you buy the home, they get a chance to reset the value, so they went for it. So I still fight to keep it low for taxable purposes, but it's just every year we have to go through this
At the end of the day, Arjun, you wanna file your homestead exemption as soon as you can.
Yeah.
I hear you. Thanks, guys.
I honestly, like, if I was a lawyer, I would even go for a class action lawsuit against county, because they are saying they are giving fair prices to everybody, and they are giving the same price to the entire Charles Mill neighborhood. And I am arguing they are lowering my price. Once they do that, why not lower everyone else's prices and give them the money back? They should. That's what should have been happening. If someone argues, reduce the value, everyone else should get the same deal too, because they are using the same appraisal for all the houses. But I'm not there yet. But maybe if we have a lawyer, we can sue the county as well.
Well, that is a whole nother ball of wax.
That is not happening with a couple of Excel charts or PowerPoints.
I think I'll stick to my fight with the HOA first, you know.
That's too, yeah.
Well, everybody, Anshul, do you have any other questions?
No, the only other question I had was related to homestead exemption. So, I already filed my homestead when it was the time, but given the appraisal of the house, whatever the value it is appraised from, I'm assuming that they calculate the tax on the basis of that and then apply homestead on top of that. Do you know, Monty or Roseanne or anybody else? Like how are they calculating? Because according to homestead, my taxes shouldn't go more than 10% up, right?
Right. So say I buy the home today, right? And I bought it for whatever, it doesn't matter. The first year, county get to say this is what we value your home, regardless of you applied the homestead or not. The first year, they say this is the price you have to pay taxes, and then you can protest, of course, and lower that value. But the first year, wherever you land, that's what it goes. Next year, it cannot go more than 10%
of the last year
of what you paid last year.
Right.
So if you pay $100,000 this year, next year it cannot be anything more than 110.
Right.
Say market went crazy, everyone is buying homes, your home price suddenly jumped to 200K a year later, you still pay at max 110 if you have the homestead.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to understand. Is it 10% of the home price? Or is it 10% in taxes?
So the first year is both the same. Whatever the home value is, tax is the same. You pay that because, again, the first year you don't have homestead.
Right.
So it's the same value. Next year, it's taxable. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, from the taxable amount. So if 100 was taxable this year, next year 110.
110. Got it.
Not the market value.
Got it. That's helpful. Thank you. And this was a great session. Appreciate you setting it up and preparing all this content for us.
Yeah. All right. Have a great rest of your Saturday, everybody.
Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate, Ozan, you taking some time to put all this information together. Lee, Arjun, Anshul, thank you for jumping on. And this has been really helpful to me. And I just can't thank you enough. And I love our neighborhood, and I love that we can do this.
Yeah, same here. I was doing this anyway, so why not share?
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ozan.
I see you clapping, Lee. All right. Well, I'm gonna close it down. Thank you, Ozan. I'll message you for some of that information. Thank you.
Okay. Sounds good.
Take care.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.